have available your blankets or blocks that you need. Legs crossed. Perhaps you're seated on your cushion or your folded blanket. Lengthen your spine, lifting your crown up towards the night sky or the sky above. Beginning to arrive on your mat. Connect with your breath. Our practice today, we have a full moon coming up, full moon in Virgo. So we're in that cycle now, as we're approaching this sort of period leading up to the full moon, in which we have energetically already beginning to tune in with the fullness of the moon. We have this symbiotic relationship between the self and nature. And this full moon in Virgo really harnesses that energy, that relationship. Mudra, the hand gesture or seal that we adopt today, is the chandra mudra. Chandra means moon. And so with your right hand, bringing your right hand slightly kind of parallel to your shoulder, but slightly turned in. So not facing out directly, but slightly turned in towards yourself, as if you're holding one part of the moon there. And the gentle curve with that hand. The left palm in front of your solar plexus or just above your navel. And fingers very loose and soft here. And then reach up with your ring finger and curl in your little finger. My little finger and my ring finger always do the same thing. I can't make them independently do anything different. So I'm going to have my little finger folded in and my ring finger slightly extended up towards the sky. So let's just show you there. So you can see that my thumb, my index and middle are parallel to the earth, and my ring finger and my little finger. If I could curl this finger in a little bit more, I would, but I can't. You may be able to. So this mudra that we've adopted is a mudra to connect us to the sacred feminine. Now, when we talk about the sacred feminine in yoga, we're not talking about it in terms of gender, which is where we have kind of very Western interpretation of what is masculine, what is feminine. It is said that we have these energies within us, and these two energies in balance and in harmony connect us to that energy of the creator, creation, and that energy of the divine consciousness. So the sacred feminine is that creative energy. The masculine energy, and I'm talking only in yogic terms, is the sort of conscious, inert energy. So when we think about the different types of energy, inert energy, and then the energy that sort of moves and propels and creates. So Shak, the energy that sort of makes things happen, and the energy source itself, the inert energy, which this force acts upon. I'm not a scientist, so my explanation is probably a little bit not very scientific, but I am a yoga teacher, so it's a yogic. Closing your eyes, visualizing just above your third eye, here at the forehead, the moon, the full moon, this sphere, silver, with all the shadows of the dips and the mountains on the moon, all the craters, the rocks on the moon's surface, visualizing those in your mind's eye, and the way that the light of the sun reflects on the moon, giving it a silver glow. The moon is also known as the source of soma, sweet nectar. It's hydrating, nourishing, ambrosial quality, which nourishes, hydrates, renews. So in your mind's eye, here at the Soma Chakra, above the Ajna Chakra at the third eye. It's a chakra that we don't often talk about, connected to the moon. And as you breathe in and out, have this image of the moon pulsating ever so slightly, expanding and then shrinking, just small movements, not vastly, almost like the beating of a heart. And see this surge of energy as the moon expands. And this is the surge of energy that we're connecting with today. We're moving out of winter, that very heavy, lethargic energy of winter. The onset of spring is upon us. The sun is shining, flowers are beginning to break through the earth. The buds are visible on plants, on trees, on shrubs. So it is this energy of the Soma energy, the full moon energy, that's beginning to nourish, hydrate water. This new growth, it is the energy that is beginning to bring in some warmth. Some quickening of the energy. Our mantra for today is Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Som Somaya. Som is the bija sound. Somaya is invoking this energy of the moon deity, the brilliance, the illumination, the nourishment. Chanting Om Som Somaya Namaha 3 times and then opening by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale fully to prepare. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Namaste. Hands together at the eyebrow center, just above the eyebrow center. So this space here below the hairline, that's where our Soma Chakra is said to be located. Namaste and welcome. So thank you for joining me today. So as we're working with the full moon in Virgo, Virgo is associated with the element of earth, Prithvi. So we're going to have quite a grounding, earthly practice. And we're going to invite in some of the warmth of the sun. So the sign in the sun is Pisces. The sign here in the moon is Virgo. So we're going to bring in some of that Virgo energy with some of that kind of watery energy of Pisces. So earth and water blended today in our practice. So let's start by placing our hands on our knees, lengthening through your spine, and we're going to circle our spine, these Sufi circles. So these circumduction movements. I'm sitting on a block and I'm going to remove the block. So invite the movement from the very base of your spine so that it travels the full length of your spine. Perhaps you bring in your neck as well, the cervix here, so that we have the cervical area, all the full length of our lumbar spine. Really feeling this movement, the thoracic spine. And then let's reverse this movement. So here we are bringing in this emotional, watery, fluid energy of Pisces. This dream-like quality that we associate with Pisces. And then let's come to stillness. Open out your legs, bring the soles of your feet together. We're going to move into Tortoise Pose. Molassen. Soles of your feet together, so it looks like Baddha Kanasana, butterfly pose. We're going to thread our arms underneath our legs, underneath our knees. So our forearms might reach on the earth, or we might have our hands on the earth. Really folding forward here, hinging from the hips as far forward as you can go, and then softening and relaxing. So now we're coming back into this grounding, earthly energy of Virgo. So this practical energy that we associate with earth, the solidity. So we have this watery, emotional, fluid energy of Pisces coming together with this solid, stable, secure foundation of the earth. So in this way, when we manifest our dreams, the dreams we associate with Pisces, we can also begin to visualize the steps that we need to take in order to implement, realize our hopes, our aspirations. One more breath here. And then beginning to unfurl your spine, slide your hands back towards you. Take a moment here. And then let's really draw in the heels towards our body so that we create as little space as possible between the heels and our body. Legs, knees heading down towards the earth. Interlace your fingers on your toes. And then let's flutter in here in Parvatiasana, sorry. Parvati, goddess Parvati, the deity. And just very gentle movements here. So again, beginning to think about how we can bring in some soft, gentle movement, but also maintain that connection between our sit bones and the earth. We're coming into this sort of present moment awareness. Take a moment here, and then let's release your hands. Let's take this right leg, helping hand, cross it over the left leg. So we come into our twist here. Now, if this folded leg, the left leg doesn't feel comfortable, remember your option is to extend that long. Inhale, lengthen. And then as you exhale, let's turn over to the right. Now your left elbow can be on the outside of your right knee. It can be hugging in the right knee. Let's walk that right hand round behind us. And I'm going to just bring my fingers into this. Well, this kind of looks like a half lotus. You know, the Ardha Padma Mudra we've been doing, the ring and little finger reaching up, but the middle and index are reaching forward, so they're parallel to the earth. Let's look over our right shoulder here. Breathe into your abdomen. If you wish, you can close your eyes and again visualize the moon. Som Somaya Namaha. Thinking about how we can close the chapter on winter, ending that cycle, and open this new cycle into spring. And what are the things, people, the relationships, the ideas, the emotions, the thoughts that we want to move on from, to let go of? It might be the inner critic. this voice that we have inside our heads. It might be a voice we have out loud that we hear. Let's think about how this time is an opportune moment to move forward. One more breath here. Inhale, turn center and over to the left to counter twist, chin tucked here. And now we're going to, and this is a tricky bit, so we're going to carry on all the way around. I don't think I've ever actually tried it with my leg extended. Let's see how we can do that. Oh yeah, we can kind of do that. Oh, we could do that. So I'm going to go back where I was because, so your left leg is crossed over your right, remember? Hands on the earth, over on the left. So let's lift ourselves up and pivot on our feet, working all the way around so that our hands come back to over to the right side. So we've sort of done a semicircle. Now you should find that your left leg is over your right leg rather than the other way around. And then you can always extend that leg long. If that didn't work for you, go back and try it again, because you can do it. The idea is to keep your fingertips on the earth and pivot on your feet into this semicircle so that you come back to where you're originally facing. So I'm facing exactly the same way, except my legs are crossed over the other way. I hope you're there. Right, so we have our left leg over our right leg. Inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, let's turn over to the left. And again, this right elbow can hug in the left knee, or you can take the right elbow outside of this left knee. And then gaze over the left shoulder, breathing deeply. Full breath here, visualizing the full moon. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Inhale, counter twist over to the right. Fingertips on the earth, gaze down for a moment. And if I lost you somewhere in that turn, don't worry. We'll find each other again and we'll be all back in the same place. One more breath here. Now let's uncross our legs and come onto our knees. Let's take these knees wide, big toes touching. Let's have the left hand underneath our heart space in the center of the mat. Inhale, draw your right hand up to the sky. And as you exhale, let's thread it underneath our body, coming into this twist here. Right ear, right shoulder directly on the earth. This left arm, let's walk it forward. So walk it as far forward as you can and then come up onto your fingertips. So we're just going to be there for a moment, connecting with the earth energy. Now you can leave your left hand on the earth or reach up to the sky above. Or you can take that left hand and wrap it around your right. So we'll be in different places with our left arm. And then let's turn our gaze down to center, place our left hand on the earth underneath where our heart would be when we rise up. Reach up with that right hand and let's swap right hand to the earth. Inhale, draw left hand up to the sky. Exhale, thread it up. Left arm underneath your heart space. Walk your right arm forward, come onto the fingertips. Take a moment here in Parivritta Molassen. Inhale, right arm reaches up. You can keep reaching up with your right hand, or you can wrap it around your left hip and just tuck it into the crease there where the thigh meets the hip. One more breath. And then let's release that right hand, bring it back onto the earth, come up, place both hands on the earth underneath where your shoulders would be, tuck your toes, And then let's walk our hands back. So walk your hands back here. We're going to come into Molassen squat pose. So take your feet as wide as feels comfortable. If your hands connect with the earth, connect them with the earth. Spread your fingers out wide. You can sit on a block, remember. We have lots of options open to us. So sitting on a block. And then your hands less likely to reach on the earth. You could be sitting on a low footstool. You could sit directly on the earth itself. So really anchor into the earth here through your feet and your fingers or hands. Lift your crown up towards the sky. So here, visualize the connection between the moon and the earth. And this symbiotic relationship between the moon and the earth. In the same way that we have a relationship with the earth, the moon has a relationship with the earth. It's caught up in its gravity field. It moves with the earth, around the earth. The full moon illuminates at night in the darkest shadows. The landscape of the earth. One more breath here. And then let's begin to rise up. Take your feet a little bit wider, heel toe, heel toe. So you come into wide-legged forward fold here. Keep your hands on the earth or on a block, or your fingertips on the earth or a block, or a chair. Whatever's available to you here. And then really soften through your upper body here. And think about how much space you are taking up with your legs here. This wide stance. Feel the connection through your feet. And here, my toes are pointing forward and I'm shifting the weight to the outer edges of my feet. We're going to reach up with our right hand. Our left hand stays on the earth, planting it here. Draw the right hand up along your heart space and reach up. And perhaps you take your gaze with you, gazing up towards the full moon. Exhale, right hand comes to the earth. Inhale, draw the left fingertips up towards the sky. Again, take your gaze with you. Exhale, let's do that twice more in each direction. Inhaling to rise up, exhaling to lower the hand, and then lift the other hand up. And we should end on the left hand. And then exhale back onto the earth. Take a moment here. Reach behind your back. Interlace all of your fingers. Extend your thumb. Extend your index. Cross your thumb, Kali Mudra. And then reach up with your fingers towards the sky. Now, if that feels too challenging, you can take hold of opposite elbows. Connect with how the weight is shifting around here. So your weight will be shifting from the outer edge of your feet to the balls of your feet, perhaps back to the heels. So there'll be this gentle movement. So as I'm here, I can feel a very gentle movement as I find my perfect point of balance, a point of harmony in which I have weight reaching forward through my crown towards the earth, but I'm still holding balance with my legs. So I'm not tumbling forward. So just rock gently here to help you find that point. One more breath. Bend into your knees. Reach up with your heart space. Keep your hands interlaced behind you. And we're going to open up our arms into Tadasana Star Pose. And now let's turn our toes out. Exhale, right hand comes into that palm, Chandra Mudra. So this sort of curve with the right palm slightly turned in towards your body. Left palm above the navel here. Take a moment here. Som Somaya Namaha. Let's turn the foot over to the left. Turn our hips and heart over to the left. So see how that feels in your right leg. So you may here turn those toes so that we're moving more into pyramid with our legs. Exhale, let's hinge forward, crown reaching towards the bottom of the mat here. For me, this is the bottom of my mat, tailbone reaching back. And then when you're ready, let's release our mudra and take it behind our back. Interlace your fingers, this time cross the thumb the other way, extend the index and reach up. Bend into that left knee, rise up. So we have warrior stance now. Our fingers are interlaced behind our back, bending into your knees. Exhale, straighten through that left leg and fold over your left leg, hands reaching behind you. We'll flow like this 3 times. Feel the connection between your feet and the earth, the stability, how stable you feel here. One more time, let's fold forward, straightening through your left leg as you do, coming into pyramid here, hands reaching up. And now let's release our hand, left hand to the inside of our leg. Reach up with the right arm, coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Remember, your left hand can be on a block, on the earth, or on your leg. If it feels too, if you begin to lose sensation in this right arm, you can always bring that hand onto your hip. One breath here. Bend into your left knee. Inhale to rise up in Warrior 2, Mahaviradrasana. Straighten through the left leg. Point your toes forward. Coming back into Star Pose. Bend into your knees. Let's come into Goddess Pose, Devyasana. And again with your mudra. So thinking about now, stay there in Devyasana. We're going to have that sense of strength through the legs. Working with this earthly element, the earthly energy. This full moon in Virgo helps us to identify all of the things that need to come up to the surface, that need to rise up to the surface. So visualizing the earth and thinking about how water bubbles up to the earth's surface. This is the way that we can use this full moon to bring up things that we want to let go of, to change, to move on from. So the full moon helps us to see, identify, visualize, analyze, recognize all of the things that we want to be working on, moving on from, changing. We're shifting up a gear. One more breath here in Devyasana. I know you're feeling it. Straighten through your legs, open out your arms. And then we're going to turn over to the right here. So let's come into our hands here and turn your right toes up, turn your hips, and you will need to turn your toes in of your left leg. As you exhale, let's fold over the right leg, coming halfway. Maybe you have a bend in that right knee. Inhale. Let's release the hands, interlace the fingers behind our back. Hands reach up. Bend into the right leg, coming up in this Warrior 1 stance. Virabhadrasana. Shoulder blades together. Exhale, straighten through that right leg. Reach up with your right index fingers, Kali Mudra. Kali Mudra is the mudra for cleansing, purification. Bending into that right knee, lost count, as I always do. So let's go back down one more time. And let's release our hands with care. Right hand comes to the inside of that right leg onto the earth. Left arm reaches up or onto your hip. Come into Trikonasana on this side, on the right side. One more breath. Thinking about what is revealed to you with this full moon. And what are the plans you need to make to create some forward movement for your next cycle. One more breath, bend into that knee. Let's rise up in Warrior Two, Mahaviradrasana. And then let's turn back to center, Uttanasana pose, back to Devyasana, Goddess pose. We won't be here for as long this time. So we're going to gently flow from left to right here, rocking onto your heel. And as you move, I invite you to bring your arms in. So you might bring your arms in down, up and over. You might take out your arms to the sides. Just some movement that feels good for you here as we hinge over from left to right. Any type of fluidity movement. Go with the flow. Experiment. The Pisces energy here is this fluid, imaginative, dreamlike energy that flows. This is your creativity. Your feet remain connected with the earth. So there's your foundation. So when you've got your feet on the earth, you can have your head in the clouds. All right, let's come to stillness. So I'm going to come over onto my left side first. Let's bring our hands down towards the earth. Really reach out through that right leg. So this might feel a bit challenging for you. If you want, you can always have your hands on your blocks. Remember, they can be as high as you want. One more breath. We're going to now rock onto that heel of that right foot. Coming into Skandasana here. So remember your variation of Skandasana. I'm on the ball of my left foot. You can bring your sit bones all the way down to the earth. Or you can sit on blocks. Yogi's choice here. And then for a moment, let's come into our Chandra Mudra. You might need to make micro movements with your left toes wherever you are. Som Somaya Namaha. Thinking about what is revealed for you. What it is that you're moving on from. Take a moment and let's all come down onto our sit bones here. Left leg extended. Right leg extended rather. Left leg hugged in here. Now let's take this left arm, bring it round to the inside of your left leg. And we're going to wrap our left hand around the front of our left shin and reach behind. Now, this right hand we're going to take behind and bring the two hands together in a clasp, in that Ganesh Mudra clasp. So if I turn around and then you can see, and remember your hands may not connect. In which case, just take hold of your clothes, your yoga clothes, wherever you're wearing, or interlace them. And then turn your heart space over to the right. Here, really want you to connect with your sense of sovereignty, your personal power. When we are strong in the earth element, Prithvi, we feel powerful within ourselves. We have the earth supporting us, empowering us, holding us up. We have sovereignty, personal sovereignty. One more breath here. heart open to the right. You're holding onto your fingers, interlacing Ganesh Mudra, or you're holding onto your clothes. Let's release the mudra here. Turn your heart back to center. Tuck in that left heel. Take a moment here and turn your heart over your right leg. Exhale and fold towards your right foot. Reach towards the foot, Janushirasana, head to knee pose. You can always wrap your peace fingers, that's your middle and index and thumb, around the big toe. You can cross your wrists over here at the ankle or anywhere on your leg. Reaching with your crown towards your feet. Heart melting towards the knee. And remember, we all might be different places here. Again, there's no judgment. Nobody's trying to look perfect. Nobody has the perfect body. Ask any supermodel and they'll find fault with themselves. Our sense of perfection is our sense of sovereignty. When we feel sovereign, when we feel that we can rely on ourselves and we have that connection with our inner power, then nobody, neither the inner critic that we might hear, nor the outer critic. Did I say cricket? Critic. Nobody, whatever anybody else thinks about us, cannot take away our own power, our own sense of sovereignty. One more breath here. Slide your hands back. Reach behind you with your left hand, right hand on your heart. Inhale, lift yourself up so that you come onto your left shin, right leg extended. Sit bones lifted here, and reach up and over with your right hand now. Exhale back to the earth. And let's come onto this foot. We're going to reverse over onto the other side of the mat. So with helping hands, let's come up into our Skandasana, our variation of Skandasana. And before we move over to the other side, let's come into our pose one more time. And then slide all the way across to come into Skandasana on the right side here. Seem to have got very close to you there. So come here onto the right side. And remember, you can be sitting on the earth, you can be sitting on blocks, your fingertips can be touching the earth. That left foot is flexed. Find something to focus on. When you're ready, you can come into your balance if you wish. Remember, you can always keep one hand on the earth. So if you're, remember the left hand is this palm face up, with the ring and little finger reaching up, and index, middle and thumb parallel to the earth, and the right hand is this gentle curve. So whichever way you do it, adopt that gesture with that hand. One more breath here. Let's come down onto our sit bones on this side. Hug in that right knee. Take a moment here. We're going to reach up with this right arm and wrap it around so that we hook the right shoulder on the inside of the right knee. And then wrap our right hand behind us. Now you'll find that there will be a difference between your left and your right side. And then let's reach out with the left arm and sweep it behind to interlace our fingers in our Ganesh Mudra, or to take hold of our clothes, our t-shirt, our bottoms. And then not our little bottoms, our closed bottoms. And then turn your heart over to the left so that your heart space is open here. And again, visualize the full moon here. Som Somaya Namaha. Dancing with the moon, the silvery moon, the light of the moon. So we're going to bathe in the moon's light. And because we're also balancing in Pisces in the sun, let's bring in some of that sunbathing idea. Absorbing the warm rays of the sun as we move from one season to the next, marked by this moon. And let's think about how we can make a commitment to the spring season, to this next season ahead. One more breath here. Let's release our hands with care. And let's tuck in that right heel. Turn your heart over to the left side. As you exhale, let's hinge forward towards the left foot. You can take hold of your big toes, cross your wrists over at your ankle, Janu Shirasana. So hinging forward from the hips here, heart melting towards the earth, and crown reaching towards that leg. Now, you'll see my spine's quite curved because I have spinal curvature there. So your back may be much straighter than mine. Mine tends, my curve becomes much more pronounced as I reach over like this, but you're probably much better in terms of your heart reaching and still maintaining that erect spine unless you have some of these spinal issues. One more breath. And then let's slide our hands back towards our heart. Right hand reaches behind, left hand on your heart. Inhale to lift up onto your right shin. Pushing your hips and pelvis forward and up. And then you can reach up and overhead with your right arm. One more breath. Reaching for there's the Muladhara, the root chakra that connects to the element of earth. Exhale, let's come back down to earth. From the clouds down to earth. Extend that right leg long. Legs together, Dandasana. Staff pose. Flex the toes. Lengthen through the crown. Lengthen through the spine. Take a moment here. As you exhale, let's hinge forward. I'm going to come with Kali Mudra. So you can take Kali Mudra here. As you exhale, hinge forward and reach towards your toes. And then when you've reached as far forward as you can, Paschimottanasana, forward fold. Again, melt your heart towards your thighs. And you can soften here. You can feel this all down the length of your spines. One more breath here. Inhale to uncurl. This time, let's take our legs wide. So coming into wide-legged seat here. Take your hands either side of your hips, so your hands are a little bit wide as well. Open your heart, draw your shoulder blades together, and then lift your gaze up towards the sky. Visualize here at the Soma Chakra, just below the hairline above the sixth chakra, the moon, Soma, the nectar, ambrosia that the moon releases. So this nourishes, you think about the location there, just at the front of our brain, the prefrontal cortex there. The higher executive functioning takes place in that part of our brain. So connecting here with your imagination, you're analyzing what has come before and then allowing your imagination to roam freely. So analyzing where you have been, what's been happening for you over the last few months of winter, thinking about what it is that needs to change or needs to be let go of, or you try and find the new beginnings of a new cycle coming up. And your dream, your imagination will help you dream. And then this full moon energy will help you make plans, decision make, exercise your judgment. One more breath here. Exhale, let's reach towards our toes or our legs. Heart melting down towards the earth. One breath more. Thinking about the earth below, the expansion of your breath, the expansion of the energy in your body. Inhale, release your toes. Let's swing your legs around and come onto your knees here. Take a moment here to untuck your toes. As you exhale, come into Child's Pose, arms extended, Prithvi Mudra. Take a breath here. Come onto your forearms. Lift your tailbone and weave your heart up into table, then cat, cow, and then back into Child's Pose. And then let's slide the hands up, coming back up onto our knees. This is Prithvi salutation, Earth salutation. So rising up on your knees here, crown reaching up. Exhale, fold forward into Molassen, Child's Pose. Eyebrow center, Soma Chakra on the earth here. Press through your hands, bring your forearms to the earth. Lift your tailbone, slide your head and heart between your hands so that you come into cat-cow here. And then back into Child's Pose. Slide your hands, coming back up. And one more cycle here. Exhale, Child's Pose to the earth. The earth salutation. Come onto your forearms and weave your way through. Coming up into cat-cow. And then back on to your heels in Child's Pose. Slide your hands towards you, coming up into, I don't know what you call this pose, but it's on your knees. There probably is a name for it, but I can't remember it. It's not quite Tadasana, and it's not quite anything else. Take a moment here. And then let's take our hands behind our back. Interlace your fingers in Kali Mudra. Cross your thumbs the other way. Let's do the other way so it feels weird. So, and then draw your hands down. Shoulder blades come together. Lift your gaze. Push your hips forward. Slight back bend here. Now we're moving into Ustrasana, camel pose, but not fully. Be very gentle with your back here. As you exhale, sit bones come back towards your heels. Crown down towards the earth. Allow your hands to reach up and over. Tuck your toes if that helps you to balance here. Do not put any weight into your crown here. So you're just very gently brushing the earth with the top of your head. You can bring your hands down to scaffold you if it feels as if you might topple forward with the weight. And one more breath. Inhale, engage your core here. Rise up with your heart. Come back to center. Release your hands, reach overhead. Let's interlace our fingers into Kali Mudra again. Exhale over to the left. I've got my toes tucked here, but you can have them flat. Inhale, center, over to the other side. Hopefully sound is okay. One more breath here. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands to your heart. Come into your chandra mudra. Som Somaya Namaha. Come back onto your sit bones. Is sound okay? Danny, is the sound okay? Thank you. Take a moment and then let's come on to our sit bones. I'm going to move into bridge pose now. So from here, lower yourself with care. Just give myself lots of space overhead. So make sure you have lots of space overhead. So bring your heels up close to your sit bones. Brush the back of your heels with your fingertips. Expand your heart space here by drawing your shoulder blades close together underneath your back. One breath here. Now you can scaffold the raising of your bridge with your forearms, or you can keep your hands on the yogi's choice. Begin to tilt your pelvic bowl by drawing your navel in towards you, and then peel your spine off the earth one vertebra at a time to rise up into bridge pose, Satu Bandhasan. Keep your chin tucked, gaze up at the sky. Interlace your fingers underneath is an option for you into Kali Mudra. Keep your hips and pelvis reaching up. Imagine you have a block between the legs here so that your thighs are engaged. And in your mind's eye, visualize the full moon with its craters and mountains, moon rocks, shadows, the silver glow. Som Somaya Namaha. May the full moon nourish my imagination, my dreams. May the full moon illuminate the steps that I need to take, the call to action to which I can respond. One more breath here. Release your hands. Exhale, lower to the earth, one vertebra at a time. And then when you return to the earth, take a moment here to realign your spine. Taking a moment here, perhaps you windshield wipe your knees gently one way, then the other. Now we're going to move into mountain raises from the sea. So this is why you need space overhead. As you inhale and lift your pelvis, take your right arm overhead. As you exhale, slowly return your pelvis to the earth and bring your right arm back alongside your body. Next breath, inhale, left arm up and over as you rise up. Exhale to return to the earth. Inhale, both arms up and over. Exhale, return to the earth. And then one more round here, right arm up and over. Exhale to the earth. Inhale, left arm up and over. Exhale to the earth. And now this time, both arms reach up and over. Let's take a moment here. Perhaps you interlace your fingers overhead in Kali Mudra. Index release, thumbs crossed. And then let's lower both arms and hips and pelvis back down to the earth. Take a moment here. Allow your knees to fall out. Soles of your feet come together, reclined butterfly. Now check that your lower back doesn't experience any twinging or pulling here. If it does, bring your feet flat onto the earth and knock your knees in towards each other. Tuck your chin in here. Let's take 3 or 4 breaths here in reclined Baddha Kanasana, Supta Baddha Kanasana. Tell you what, this is a beautiful practice before bedtime. So this is when we do Surya Namaskar type practices. We tend to do those in the morning at dawn, energizing and preparing for the day ahead. When we engage in Chandra Namaskar practices or the lunar energy practices, we tend to practice those in the evening because you notice that there's a different energetic feel about them. This is a nurturing practice. We're drawing on the nourishment of the moon, on the safety of the earth. One more breath here. Now, with helping hands, bring your knees in together. We're going to move into fish pose, Matsiasan. So now you need to extend your legs long, and I'm sure most of you don't have your dogs at the end. I have my dog there, so I'm going to move with care. Okay, before you extend your legs, lift your bum, you lift your sit bones and place your hands, palms face down underneath. And then extend your legs. Draw your shoulder blades in towards each other. Tuck your elbows and upper arms underneath your body and begin to lift your heart space so that your crown is reaching to the earth and your heart space is domed up towards the moon. You can keep both heels on the earth or you can lift them very gently. You will need to engage your core. Matsiasan fish pose. One more breath here. We're not here for long. Lower your legs if you have them lifted. Lower your head. Tuck your chin. Slide your hands out from underneath you. And let's lie down in Shavasana. Allow your feet to fall apart. Your arms away from your body. And today I'm going to leave you in Shavasana. So Shavasana practice here will be very beneficial. Help you to drop that down into the calm meditative state that we've been working on related to this moon energy, the lunar energy we've been working with. And I invite you to stay here in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. And when you are ready to rise up from here, remember to hug in your knees and then roll onto one side. And closing your practice with Om Som Somaya Namaha 3 times, Om Shanti 3 times. So I'll chant that gently and softly here. And then I'll finish my practice, and I trust you to take care of yourself wherever you are. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Dhanyavad.